As Padres season spirals, questions emerge about culture, cohesion, and chemistry. All that really matters, Padres over the A's tonight, 8-3. Jose Azocar, first career home run. Kevin Acee with the bombshell article today. If you missed our conversation, by the way, with Kevin, click the link pinned at the top of the chat. Subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel, John and Jim. We have that interview for you there on our brand new John and Jim YouTube channel today, all about really these couple thousand words in the Union Tribune, most of them center, Jim, on Manny Machado, his role in what has transpired here in 2023 with the San Diego Padres. So much conversation. We've had so many of these like Padre off days before. Yesterday was the off day, but this morning the story dropped from Kevin Acee, something he's worked on for the better part of a year. With the team struggling, it was released here today. Padres do win. They've won now 3 of 4. They remain 6.5 games out. 14 to play, elimination number of 8. And here we are tonight. Jim, I just saw you, I feel like, maybe a couple of hours ago, which is basically every day.
Yes, you did see me a couple hours ago. That actually happened.
Yeah.
Jose Azocar had a cool night, cool moment.
Great night.
Great
Smoked
moment.
the ball.
Just first home run, 3-run bomb. That was cool.
Really cool.
All right, that's the extent of today's and tonight's post-game coverage. Now, the article that is just, making the rounds around the world, baseball world, talked a lot about it today. If you missed it, we talked to Kevin Acee exclusively today on John and Jim. Go subscribe to our John and Jim show YouTube channel. You can find that Kevin Acee interview there. I more time to digest the article. I think that this team and this culture has been an issue for far too long. And it's got to change. I don't know how it can change now, but it's got to change. And I think that's the underlying, give me cliff notes of your thoughts on the article that Kevin wrote, is that you got a culture problem that needs to change. And until that changes, nothing will change with this team. And it's not all Manny's fault. We know that, but Manny's a part of it. And when your leader is a part of a problem, and frankly, I would say a big part of it. There are times when you need your leader in moments that are, bad moments to step up. And Manny hasn't done that 3 out of the last 5 years. When things are great, everything's fine, right? But when times are tough, you got problems. And that should not be happening to this extent. So I think hearing these things today, the Peter Seidler excellence line about AJ Preller, I honestly think this is Manny Machado's excellence line. I don't know if the culture, he doesn't believe in culture, is going to ever leave Manny Machado. I think it's extremely damning for him to think the culture doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. A couple things. All right, as you make your way and subscribe, year-round Padres content for you. Subscribe to our brand new channel as well. Click that link pinned at the top of the chat. Smash the like button for us. Padres over the A's tonight, 8-3 in Oakland. Follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Thank you for the supers. We're going to get to all of them here tonight. Click the $sign below the chat box. We do appreciate your support of our work and this channel. So you can click the $sign below the chat box. Anything that's on your mind, we'll get to every single super chat here tonight. And if you want to become a member of the channel, you can do so by clicking join down below. Andrew says, Sadu. Manny says they didn't want to win. F. Thank you, Andrew. And Murray says, by the way, Steele 6 Ernie's tonight. Yeah, in 6 innings at Arizona. Snell for Cy Young now. Yeah, he was the favorite. He remains the favorite. He's getting close, hopefully, to wrapping that thing up. So thank you, Murray, and thank you, Andrew. I gained additional respect today for Bob Melvin based on what he said when asked before the game about the article that Kevin published. And there's 2 reasons why he's moved up another notch in my book. One, he did not refute anything that Kevin wrote, did not question it in any regard. He said there was an article published that discussed a leadership void. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing. He said, it starts with me. As much as the players, of course, want to be leaders and are accountable for their performance, I am the leader, and I feel accountable for the void that has occurred here. I found it interesting. I love the fact that he was willing to fall on the sword. That's what a leader and a manager should be willing to do. I wonder if he recognizes that time is fleeting with his time in San Diego, whether by his choice or by the organization's choice. I didn't necessarily expect it. I didn't think that Bob Melvin, I didn't put two and two together. He'd be asked about it pregame. But the fact that he answered it the way he did gave me even like a newfound respect for someone that's, he said all the right things all year, even though this has been a train wreck. I think Bob Melvin has said the right things, and I thought he went even a step further here today with the way he answered that question about this article from Kevin.
Like one of the very first questions to Kevin today that we had was, about the reaction that he is getting from inside that clubhouse,
right,
and maybe team executives and officials, like after this article. And Kevin said, not only in his article, but then doubled down on it, that to everybody involved in this piece and pretty much everybody involved in this organization, the main people, right? This article they knew was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was not a surprise to Bob Melvin. This wasn't a surprise to Manny Machado, for sure. This was not a surprise to any one of the 8 players that he talked to that felt like they needed this to get out. So if anybody out there thinks that Kevin, went behind people's backs and he's doing this hit piece on Manny Machado and he's a complete hack for, putting Machado in this bad light, like, I think you should check yourself at the fucking door. And, if you don't like Kevin, you don't like Kevin, that's fine. But man, to just completely dismiss all this, to me, I think a lot of fans are doing, and a lot of fans look really bad by just, saying that this doesn't matter. I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, some, and it's not I'm not saying it's like every fan. Okay. I'm not saying it's that, but there is a group out there that I think, is completely blinded by whatever it is. If it's like, hey, he's Manny Machado, or it's, hey, it's the Padres. Like, wake up.
Hey, you watch back because you posted? Did you watch the entirety of the interview? Like, do you know everything he told us? And the reason I ask is because when we were there, we're in a bar. It's often hard to hear Kevin from our setup. So you watched it back, right?
I did.
I didn't realize the first question I asked, his answer, I missed a lot of this. I missed his answer where he said he spoke with Manny today, and I'm not going to get into the specifics, but by publishing this article, I put a lot on the line. Mm-hmm. I'm reading 2 and 2. I'm putting two and two together here. Let me guess and tell me this is far-fetched, because it's not. Manny ain't talking to Kevin potentially for a long time. Now, I don't know. He might say that. But when Kevin says, I spoke with Manny, I'm going to keep it between us, and what I published today is something that could potentially damage my ability to do my job, I'm paraphrasing. I'm putting 2 and 2 together where Manny says, hey, listen, I saw the article. I recognize it. I'm making this up. But like, there's a scenario where he's not getting quotes from Manny Machado. Now, that might be for a day or a week or a month or a year or a decade. I have no clue. But when Yonder Alonso tweets the way he does with his relationship with Manny, Manny's not enamored with this article. Let's not kid each other. And Manny Machado's not Bob Melvin. Where Bob Melvin takes the high road, I got no clue what road Manny Machado is taking in the short, medium, and long term. So that's something to consider. Kevin Acee did not help his ability to do the job by doing this, but he did his job. He did the right thing. And sometimes you just got to do the right thing. This isn't going to get him a raise. It's not going to have him work for some national. He's not going to be working for the New York Times tomorrow. He's going to keep doing his job or attempt to. And this may jeopardize his ability to do it. But guess what? Someone had to say it, and he said it. So what's the problem?
Yeah, I just find that, when a paper or a reporter reports like there's a problem, and then you have quotes from potential problem about the problem, and then you have other quotes maybe, backing up these claims of a problem. And the first thing that I see from some fans out there is, nah, fuck the paper. I'm not believing that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it's in plain sight. If this article is written by Joe Schmo, how do you think people would have reacted?
And by the way, and I think a lot of people take it as, well, okay, Kevin is paid to appear on 760, therefore you're backing Kevin. But if you've been with our content, if you followed the work we do for the last couple of years and talking with Kevin, and I think Kevin does good work, like I think Dennis Lynn does good work, and like I think AJ Cassavell does work, and other reporters that have covered the team occasionally, we have no vested interest in Kevin's success as a reporter. We really don't, just like he doesn't have a vested interest in the success of John and Jim as a show. If you heard our interview today, our line of questioning was pretty direct. Why'd you write it? Was it centered around Machado or not? What about the flack you caught from guys like Yonder Alonso, Jerkson Profar, and Will Myers? I mean, this was not some puff interview that we conducted after his quote-unquote hit piece. I mean, he did his job. We do our job. We've said things before, I think, where we probably might disagree with Kevin. Mm-hmm. So, but we're telling you today we agree with what he did. And that has nothing to do with the fact that he's paid to appear on 760, which, by the way, has nothing to do with me or Jim. That's a pay grade.
You know what I think people failed to understand, because it's Kevin, and Kevin has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way for maybe opinions that he's had, or
he used to be a columnist, now he's a beat reporter,
right? Like that's the job. Like, Kevin knows it. He's big boy. He knows what he signed up for. Okay, sure. This is same thing with us. When we give opinions, we know that some people are going to like it, and we know some people are going to call us idiots. That's fine. I really don't give a shit sometimes. Right. I really fucking don't. But the one thing that I think people are failing to understand about this piece, and it's like, it blows my mind how people just are glossing over it. And some people are calling it a shit piece without even reading the article, which is another thing that blows my mind. Kevin is in there every day. Kevin talks to these players every day. Kevin has talked to these players every day for the last however many years, since he became the full-time beat for the Padres, which I think was since the Chargers left in 2017.
It's been a while now. Yeah,
so it's been a while. In. Okay. Yeah. He has cultivated a lot of relationships in that organization, to get some information that others couldn't. Okay. But to completely just think that a guy who is in that clubhouse every day and talking to these players every day and talking to Manny Machado, nobody in the chat, we aren't, every fan out there has not talked to Manny Machado, I want to say it all this year. Okay. But Kevin did. And he did that for 30 plus minutes yesterday at Dodger Stadium alone. And it was all relayed to Manny what was coming out. Again, am I defending Kevin? You might think that, but I'm defending almost like journalism in a way. Like, I'm defending actual quotes from a player that is being written about. I'm defending, I guess, journalism in a way, and however you want to take it. You might say, well, you're defending a shitty journalist. That's your opinion, whatever. I go on the side of thinking that he's a guy that I'm sure a lot of people around baseball, reporters around baseball, and I'm sure probably a lot of people inside that Padres organization and a lot of players on that team were like, man, that took some guts to do, but I'm glad you did it. I'm glad he did it.
Yeah, it's really well said. Because I was thinking the same thing going down that path. There's now, the way I look at it is like, does the organization actually respect the work that he did over a period of time? 30 plus interviews, 8 players plus Manny. That's 9 of 26. Okay, that's more than a third of the roster, of the current active 26-man roster. Does the organization recognize that it has a problem, and try to fix it? or do they discredit it? Now, Bob Melvin didn't discredit it. That's why I give him so much credit here today. By the way, I didn't hear a lot of current players discrediting it today. There was a retweet from Jerkson Profar. Okay, he's been here for a week this year. But I didn't hear a lot of players discrediting it. It's probably very odd dynamic right now in there. It's got to be bizarre dynamic in there. But listen, the first question for Peter and AJ, this isn't disappearing in 16 days. The first question for Peter and AJ is, do you recognize what Kevin wrote? And are you willing to make change based on what he said in the piece? And how do they react to it? Are they, oh, well, I mean, do they just kind of cast it aside and say, we have processes in place and we know more than he does? Or do they say, you know what, a lot of what he said, there's some accuracy in there. We're going to do everything we can to get this thing fixed. Let me get to a couple of these supers. Ben, great seeing you today at Fair Play. Thanks for swinging by. He says it's understandable you missed some of what Kevin said, that equipment. Yeah, Ben was on with Darren. I mean, we actually have new equipment that's currently in Corvallis, Oregon, with San Diego State. So we actually had some new equipment, but today we had old equipment because the equipment that we used 2 weeks ago is in Corvallis. But Ben, good seeing you. Thank you for your support. Andrew in Korea, thank you, man. He says, should have let Manny walk. Clubhouse culture is awful. I think there's people probably, Andrew, that do agree with that assessment. And then there's this from Ben again, who says there's a vested interest by the front office in misinformation. So Kevin's front office reporting is sometimes off. Kevin didn't fabricate the story or the feedback from players. His integrity is never suspect. Thank you, Ben, again, for your 2 cents or $10, truthfully, here. So
thanks, Ben.
Yeah, again, he covers it every single day. It's not like everything he writes is going to be accurate. And I'm sure there are some people trying to throw him off a mark or a scent, so to speak. But I mean, that's a lot of reporting. When you report on something for a year plus, I mean, and you vet it and you've got editors, I mean, there's got to be a lot of validity in there.
Yeah. And, like, has Kevin got maybe some of the stuff that the Padres, like, oh, the Padres are looking at a first baseman and trade that, like, yeah, I'm sure he has. Everybody has, because we know that this organization is all over the place when it comes to leaks.
Yeah,
as far as,
and they probably do it intentionally.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, hey, we're going to throw everybody off this scent.
Yep.
Just give Kevin a little nugget here.
Yep.
And he's going to report it, and we're going to go the other direction.
Exactly.
And then it makes Kevin look like he got bad information. Like,
I mean, wait, hold on. I need to cut you off for 1 second. It just reminded me of didn't AJ Preller specifically say to the media one time, and we were there? Was it either on the radio or was it in a press conference? We whatever Kevin writes, we just do the opposite.
Yeah, he told it on the other station.
And so what does that tell you about it? We want to talk about culture and we want to throw this all on Manny. You got the head of the front office saying, and even if you're joking, there's some truth in that. Hey, you know what? Whatever Kevin writes, we do the opposite. Right. Is that like, should you be saying that?
Right.
Is that a good reflection on an organization?
Yeah. And I don't care who wrote this piece. Whoever would have written this piece, I don't care who it is. Do you think that they would legitimately post this if it was misinformation, or you know what I mean? Like, would that person, whoever wrote this article, do this if it wasn't true? Because if it wasn't true, and you get players saying that's not true, I never said that, that's completely false, then guess what? You not only like lose your credentials, you also are not a writer of the Baseball America Association anymore, and you are never going to be taken seriously ever again.
Sure.
So again, the reporter, whoever wrote this story, would need to, one, talk to these players face to face, also talk to the player who he is essentially writing about face to face, and let that player know what he is going to be writing about, and then ask him questions about things that he was talked to about by other players in this article that were 8 anonymous players. And if anybody out there thinks, well, why don't you just name the players? You got to be out of your fucking mind if you think that Kevin Acee is, and any of these players are going to want their name out there. Because if Kevin did that, then yeah, he's also out of the clubhouse forever. So yeah, exactly. You guys don't understand what journalism is. I'm not talking to anybody in the dynamic. Chat. I mean, I'm not talking to the chat. I'm talking to like certain people out there that I have seen on social media look like fucking idiots today.
Yeah, well, obviously, here's the thing. It's like what Kevin wrote is what the players had stated to him who he granted anonymity. So the reason you're not seeing it discredited, including by the manager, and when we get to the super that's just rolled in, is because it's valid because it came right from the horse's mouth. It came from 8 of the 26 in the room.
including
So,
Manny.
yeah, exactly, including Manny as well, who's actually quoted. But thank you. He says, we don't know what it's truly like in the clubhouse, but representatives can find the story they want. He talked to 8 who agreed. How many didn't? Can't say AC's 100. It's also not a player's job to discredit stories. That's fair. But I mean, Bob Melvin today was literally asked about it, and he acknowledged it and took responsibility for it. So if Bob Melvin's taking responsibility for it, he's not taking responsibility for something that's not real, some fake world. He recognizes what Kevin writes. Maybe there's some interpretation in there. I'm sure some might say what he wrote maybe went too far or not far enough, but the meat of it has a level of legitimacy if Bob Melvin isn't discrediting it, and if essentially nobody else is. I don't see the organization refuting it. So this is accurate, whether we like it or not. You might love Manny Machado and not like to hear that here's a guy that doesn't value culture, and here's a guy that quit on games in Seattle, and here's a guy that you've paid $350 million to for the next 11 years, and you don't want him being this guy. But sometimes the truth hurts, and I think that's what we got here today. Kevin wrote something that's accurate, and people are hurt by it. And now it's like, what are they going to do to get this thing right? And I don't think there's any easy answers, to be honest.
I think you said it perfectly there. I think a lot of people are hurt today because maybe their favorite player or hero is not put in the best light, and not this, perfect everything athlete that you want Manny Machado to be. Like, the whole question about, well, if they were just playing better and then everything would be fine. And I don't care how these players act. Like, they can be complete assholes as long as they perform, they win baseball games. And me as a fan, that's all I care about. And that's great. I just think that if you're relying on just those things as a fan, like, you're going to be let down a lot. I just think that's the case is, are a bunch of baseball players, assholes? Like, yeah, there are a lot of assholes out there, dude. There's a lot of douchebags out there in the baseball world that are on multiple of teams that are maybe considered leaders. All right. But it's about how that clubhouse views those assholes. Okay. And if that clubhouse views that person as there's a problem here, that's what fans should be talking about, is like, you have Manny Machado and there's a problem with inside of that clubhouse, with players looking at him and saying, like, bro, you're not the greatest of leaders. And you're also having a really bad year, and you're not really helping us much offensively. And, the little things behind the scenes you're not doing. So, like, why should I do them?
By the way, I just remembered this. Kevin Asu's got this big axe to grind with Manny Machado, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's the perception
axe.
of some. Big
right.
Axe. Voted for who as National League MVP last year?
Manny Machado.
So,
no, people do.
Again, you
can
can create your own narrative. And now, like Biz said, and thank you, Biz, again for the super. He's like, well, I'm just saying, and this is fair, I'm just saying Kevin Acee should also include what other players said too. Like, you want to hear the other side of the argument. Like, he's basically saying, well, Ha-Seong Kim, for example, if you talk to Ha-Seong Kim, he's not going to be critical, obviously, of Manny Machado. That would be the belief based on the relationship and that dynamic, the way you see it, at least. I could see that. I think that's a reasonable critique to say, yeah, listen, I spoke with 8 players who said this. By the way, there were also a couple of players in Machado's camp, and this is what they had to say about his leadership and direction. I spoke with Will Myers, who played on this team in 2022. I'm making that up. Like, hey, I reached out to Will Myers, and he refuted what these players said. I reached out to Jurickson Profar, and he refuted some of the things that I've written about. Stupid bug.
I will say this.
No, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I will say this, as Kevin pointed out today with us, Will Myers is not on this team. This is a completely different team than last
I
year.
agree with that.
Even though Manny says that it's the same team,
Yep.
he's 100% wrong.
Right.
Like
It's changed. Yeah.
like it's changed in a huge way.
And Tatis and Soto is a big change. Now Soto you had for 60 games, but I mean Tatis and Soto is a big change. Oh,
Also,
Bogarts.
Xander Bogaerts.
Yeah.
Like you gotta. I mean,
It's a big change.
the big changes. So that's one thing that I will push back. Like Manny's 1000% wrong there. This is not the same team as last year, not by any stretch, not even close. You had
Right.
like not even close. So to Will Myers talking about Manny. Okay, well he wasn't here this year. A lot of this is this year, but there's also cracks and there's things that have happened over the last 4 seasons. Not including this one, that have been problems. Starting with the first year he got here in 2019. And say what you want about that team and how bad it was at the end and how that team was never going to win anything, but that's the start of Manny here. And it started with him. I mean, they quit in September. Like it started
He
with
specifically quit. I mean,
Yeah.
his numbers in September were awful.
It started off with Manny Machado in the first year of him here in San Diego after signing a 10-year, $300 million deal. He quit on the team and the manager got fired. And then you get fast forward to 2021 and according to, Peter Seidler, the once in a generation collapse. And while he might have had, some okay numbers that year, it was a down year overall for Manny Machado, topped off, however you want to view it. I think at the time we viewed it as leadership, but maybe there was other things brewing there that we didn't know about.
True.
The blow up in St. Louis with him and Tatis. I did at the time was okay with it. I maybe looking back on it now, it's something that like, that's a little more something there, which there was also coaches and the dynamic that was at play that, was also playing a factor into that as well with Jace Tingler. But like, there's also a reason why some of those coaches were there. It was because of Manny Machado. He has controlled the narrative, the people that are being hired, the people that are being fired, not all, but some, in that organization and clubhouse. And like, it's no secret. And it's been stated, and it was in this article, like Manny Machado is a prominent figure inside of that clubhouse and inside of that organization. And at almost all turns, what like the perception, what Manny says goes, that's probably pretty close to the truth.
Jake, well said. Jake, thanks for becoming a member again. Good to have Jake, Buy Bitcoin Daily, back with us.
Welcome
as a
back,
member.
Jake.
If you'd like to become a member, you get emojis and badges. Just click the join button down below. If you want to weigh in, if you have 2 cents on this, literally or figuratively, you can click the $ below the chat box. We'll get to every single super chat here tonight. I see some of the comments in the chat saying, okay, this is what we're talking about tonight. I mean, there's 14 games left in the season. Seth Lugo was great. Fernando Tatis Jr. homered. Sugar homered, but we're not going to talk about the Padres' victory over the A's tonight because a vast majority of people would prefer us talking about what this team is going to look like in 2024 and how this team is going to finish 2023 when AJ Preller and Peter Seidler speak and what changes are coming. Is Melvin staying or not? Is Preller staying or not? So that's what we're going to talk about here tonight. Before we continue on with the chat, I do want to remind our viewers about our longtime partner here on the Wrap-Up Show, our good friend as well. That would be Mark Nemitz at Farmers Insurance. If you have insurance needs, please get in contact with Mark. He is your guy. You can take that from us. I've got a homeowner's, earthquake, and life insurance policy through Mark. He's our longtime title sponsor of the Wrap-Up Show. He's been with us for probably 25 or 26 months. At this point, over 2 years now. He's a great insurance agent. He's got great service and communication. Hit the mute button, you idiot.
Sorry.
I had to file a claim last year. He took care of everything. He saved us thousands of dollars. He saved us dozens of hours of time. Whatever your insurance needs are, before you renew, call Mark. He can save you $750 or more. Get to his website by clicking the link in the description down below. So click that link in the description down below. You'll get to his website. You get a quote online for free. All the quotes, call him or online are free. Auto, home, renter's life, earthquake, whatever it is. Mark's your guy. Before you renew, call Mark. If you need information on a new policy, call Mark. And thank you, Mark, for your support of the channel.
Yeah, all this information always is above my head. mnimitz@farmersagent.com. When you reach out to him, let him know that John and Jim from the Wrap Up Show sent you.
The other thing that I found, the second most fascinating thing to me, other than Manny Machado saying, what's the value of culture, essentially? This isn't high school baseball. This isn't college baseball. Is that Manny Machado recognized there was a series in Seattle where they were completely overmatched mentally. And it wasn't that they physically quit. It's like they went into the series without a belief that they were going to win the series. This stemming off a series against Pittsburgh where he got hit and the Padres didn't retaliate in any manner. In fact, the clubhouse or the dugout didn't even respond to him getting hit. It was an odd time, if you remember. Pittsburgh dominated the Padres this year, yet the Padres did not react to Manny Machado, their supposed captain, getting hit. And then a week later, they're in Seattle, and whomever gets hit for the Mariners, and the Mariners dugout freaks out, and the Padres completely roll over in a couple of games in Seattle. So the fact that Soto said it, everyone lost their mind. What Soto said. Well, Manny Machado laid it out for you clear as day, talking to Kevin Wednesday at Dodger Stadium, that Manny Machado agrees the team has quit at times in 2023. This team, this dynamic team, Jim, with the core four that's going to be together for how long together? We have no clue. Juan Soto's only under contract for 1 year. He could be gone in 5 weeks. And this is a team that this August, with something still to play for, admitted that they quit.
Hold on. Let me pull up the quote because I want to read it. Hold on a second here. Okay. He said, I think we just didn't want it. I think overall as a group, we didn't want it as bad as Seattle did or as bad as some other teams did. I will say that. I think that's everyone's fault. It's everyone's fault. We didn't want it as a team. It falls down to the team. It's not necessarily one player. It's not an individual sport. So I think ultimately it comes down to all of us. We should have wanted it more. Hey, but
But not me, we, right?
An actual quote from Manny Machado, hit piece.
Right.
You got more quote. I mean, you want me to read more quotes?
But why didn't you just say, you know what, you're right, that's on me?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's other quotes here about sense of unity with the team, right? We know that, and we talked about it a lot. There's a severe lack of pulling on the same rope. How many times have I mentioned that, John? Like they're not all pulling on the same rope.
Maybe as many times as I've said, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
And Manny Machado disagreed with the lack of unity with the team. He said, I think there is, he said, of a sense of unity. Can there be more? Can there be a lot more? Yeah. I wouldn't say that there isn't any, that we're not together. So I think it's unfair for people to assume that or to think that. Everyone has different relationships, but can there be improvement? Yeah, there's always room for improvement. That is such a back and forth. You just said there's room for improvement. You said, can there be a lot more team unity? Yes. And then you went right back and said that there's nothing wrong. What?
Yeah, I almost see that as that might, for me, be one example of him saying, I recognize that, there's something lacking. Like, I'm willing to say that's fair.
I do think it's funny here. YouTube says, Manny said there's 26 leaders. Like, yeah, he did say that. So does that mean that we should be on Jose Zocar's ass?
Yeah, it's so bogus. I mean, let's be honest, the dynamic in there's no way Garrett Cooper walks in and controls the clubhouse. There's no way G-Man Choi does that. There's no way that Ha-Seong Kim is able to do that. I'm sure there's certain elements that Kim can do based on a little bit of tenure and his success where it's got a little bit more weight. But everyone understands, and Kevin laid this out today, even Manny at one point wasn't the clear, defined leader. He wasn't the service time leader when he got here. Eric Hosmer was here a year earlier. He was a very well-respected player in the clubhouse. You could argue about what the fan base thought of him, but you cannot argue that he was not a highly respected player in the clubhouse when Manny Machado got here in 2019. They had Craig Stammen, same dynamic that played out, highly respected leader in the clubhouse. So there were others to turn to. The issue is there's this vacuum where that's all erased, and you got Manny as the most tenured player in your clubhouse, and it's Manny, which if it's good, okay, but if it's bad, it's not okay. You don't have any deferring to Eric Hosmer. You don't have Craig Stammen. Now it's like all through Manny. You say, well, what about Xander? Xander's a first year with the team. It's going to take a little bit of time for that to develop.
And with how everything now has played out up until this point, Darren today saying, and I take Darren's sources pretty well, right? Darren today saying that when he heard about at the beginning of the year, Manny Machado talking about Xander Bogaerts in his contract, saying he got my money, and then right when the season starts, or at least spring training starts, this whole year should be about one thing, and it should be about winning a World Series. But no, it turns into Manny Machado, I'm opting out right now. You can't tell me that didn't rub people the wrong way. Like, you can't tell me that when you go into a season with this much expectation coming off of Fan Fest, which we'll never see
Beatles,
again. Yeah, like literally the greatest thing ever, coming off of all of that, and then the first thing you get is this dynamic of Manny Machado to the new guy who just got his biggest contract of his career. It's the greatest moment of his life, $280 million. Like, Xander's on the top of the world right now. And he's like, this is amazing. And the first thing that happens is you get a guy who you probably don't know very well. I'm sure they knew each other, but they never played together, saying things like, hey, you got my money. And then immediately going to the first thing of spring training when he shows up is, yes, I'm opting out.
Right.
You can't tell me that's not like a issue and a problem.
And it is a poor reflection on Manny. It also, and we said it in the time, you kind of opened yourself up, Padres organization, by giving Xander Bogaerts $280 million and only having Manny Machado under contract for $180, 6 years times 30. So you had Machado guaranteed $180. You had Bogaerts guaranteed $280 until you extended Machado. Did you think that was going to go over well with Manny Machado? Now, you could say that's a poor reflection on Manny. That's fine. But the organization had 4 years of data with Manny. So you're going to sign Xander before you extended Manny and think that goes over well with Manny.
Right.
No, it didn't make any sense then. It didn't make sense in spring training. It doesn't make sense now. And we did say that. We said, hey, Xander's owed $280. You have to extend Machado for more than that. That was clear and obvious and known. Nobody thought Manny Machado's next contract would be for less than $280 million. No one. Not one person.
Nope.
And they walked themselves into that. Now, you could, again, at the time, you said, well, Xander's worth it. He's a two-time World Series winner, top 10 MVP caliber player at his best. Maybe he's worth it. With the benefit of hindsight, maybe not. Could you have saved the money? Should you have extended Machado earlier? Could you have done it for less? Could you use that 280 this offseason on guys like Snell and Kim? So my point is this. Manny has serious blame here. So does the organization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, what's getting lost in today, and I think people are not understanding the whole picture here, when you get this piece about Manny, everybody thinks that this is something that was written to put all the blame on Manny Machado. Like,
yep,
it's not.
No, he tried to. I agree with you. It's not. And he tried to say that. And I thought he tiptoed well. Mm-hmm. But my takeaway from the article is there's a lot of Manny. I mean,
it's a lot of Manny.
It's a lot of Manny.
But I also say this, John, like reading the article, I think Kevin could have gone
harder,
gone way harder.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he could have, really, if he wanted to dive in on this, like he could have really gone even harder than he did. So
agreed.
I think that's also for fans out there to think that this is like the worst thing ever written about somebody. I think you should also, again, check yourself at the door and realize that this could have been way worse. It could have been way worse.
I thought Kevin really walked through, hey, listen, this isn't even saying Manny is the problem, but let me explain the dynamic. And then you decide if he's the problem or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And look, have I criticized Manny Machado in the past? Like, absolutely, I have. I'm not
Wait,
going
you
to
have?
sit. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and when Manny's not performing, I'm not just going to say, "Oh, well, at least he's on the Padres," and let it be okay. Like, my job is to give opinions, and my opinion at times is, what it is. And did I get a bunch of flack last year, like for Manny Machado? Yeah, I did, because I criticized him for when he was playing poorly. And then, to his credit, he turned around the last couple months of the year and had a great last, end of the season, and helped the team and pretty much and put them on his back, right? To get to the postseason. Was it easy to get to the postseason? Was it easy to get to the postseason for this team last year?
No.
No. No, it wasn't. So, like, this whole thing is that I just it's exhausting to think that one, everybody is just blaming Manny and only Manny, when, like you said, John, this is from the top down. And honestly, if I'm Peter and AJ today, I'm probably sitting back thanking Kevin for taking a little bit of heat off of him today.
Well,
Because
if
they
yeah.
those two people, okay, those two people, and a lot of AJ, Sadler as well, like that. If you want to go where the problem is, I agree. It's probably not Manny Machado. He's a big part of it, but he's probably not the root of the cause. You might want to start a little higher than Manny.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I wonder if you're Peter and you read something like this and you're thinking, it's more than Manny. It's baseball operations. It's more than Manny. Like, this is a reflection on. I don't think it's a full reflection on ownership, but I do think it's a reflection on the organization. I really do believe that. I think it's a very poor reflection on the organization, specifically the baseball operations. I don't think it's a poor reflection on their marketing team, but I do think it's a poor reflection on baseball operations. And we've said this a lot too. Peter Seidler has not spoken since that Kevin article. This is now 3 months ago. And he, like all, has the right to change his mind. He went very strong. He said AJ Preller's not going anywhere, period, and AJ's excellent. So it would seem unlikely. But also, what would seem unlikely is that the Padres didn't compete for a postseason spot the entire year and are going to finish under 500 and haven't been 500 since May 10th. So he's got decisions to make. There's no way he's lying his head on the pillow every single night and not thinking about what's to come with his team here. There's no way he's 100% confident and secure with the direction heading into 2024. That's all I'm saying. There's question marks. Now, what are those questions? What has to be answered? I can't fully answer that. And I'm not saying he's moving on from AJ Preller based on this Kevin AC article, but I am saying he knows there are problems that need to be righted. And I don't know if he knows how he's going to do that or not as we sit here on September, whatever today is.
Yeah, because they put themselves in a corner with a lot of things that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost feels like just lock yourself in the room and you're not allowed to get out until you fix these problems. Like,
right.
because there's no other option.
Could be a while, though. That could be 10 years.
It could be, and it might be 10 years, or until Manny requests a trade.
Right.
That to me is like, it's like the only like, what other option? You're not getting rid of Manny. Okay. Do I think Manny can still help this team? Like, yes,
yeah, he can.
I do.
He definitely can.
100%.
Yep.
Okay. Not saying Manny's a bum.
Yeah.
One of the best players in baseball.
I'm not saying he's washed.
Right.
Yeah.
He's having a shit year, but is it a problem? Yeah. But do I still think he's going to help the team and can help the team? Absolutely. But, you got to figure out how to fix these type of issues, because 3 of the last 5 years, it's like Groundhog's Day, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. And the 2 people, I won't say 3, but the 2 people that have been here for that long and been a part of those 5, just, or 3 of those 5, like, just Groundhog Day type of scenarios is Manny and Preller. You want to blame Soto? Go for it. You want to blame Bogarts? Okay.
Right.
I tend to look at the track record of this team and who's been here through of all that shit. And there's 2 names, and it's Preller and it's Manny. I don't know how like, if I don't think both are like 50-50. I think there's a lot to play as far as everything else goes, but like, those are the two central pieces in this organization, in this franchise, whether you like it or not, that run the ship. Those two guys, Preller and Manny, they are the captains of the ship. And 3 of the last 5 years, their ship has sank.
And whether you like it or not, neither may go anywhere at any period of time that's soon.
Right.
AJ Preller's under contract through 2026. Manny Machado's under contract through 2033. I believe I have that right. Through 2033. So there is no, the whole lock yourself in a room, and I agree with you. The problem is, you might not be coming out like ever. Ben, thank you for the super. Guys, if you're here, subscribe. Year-round content for Padres fans. Please subscribe to our brand new John and Jim channel. Click the link in the description down below or the link that's pinned in the chat. Ben, thank you for the super. If you want to contribute, click the $ below the chat box. It says the organization knows Manny and still decided to extend him. So even the part that is on Manny is also on Seidler for insisting AJ extend him.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I would also say when you say organization, Ben, and decided to extend him, I would replace that with Peter Seidler decided to extend him. Like, say what you want about AJ, but Dennis Lin reported, okay, that there wasn't a consensus in that organization to keep Manny Machado. Like, that's in print. You want to go look back at that? Go find it, because Dennis Lin reported that. And you guys want to give shit to Kevin, but Dennis is reporting.
Hear me
things
out.
like that.
There's also there's a little bit of revisionist history going on with the extension. You can find this too. Kevin Acee reported it. The Padres, remember, there was the low ball Machado offer of $21 million per year before he got the $350, correct?
Yeah.
Where AJ Preller is quoted a number of times. Look at the offseason between 2022 and 2023 and tell me how many times AJ Preller is quoted as saying Manny Machado is a priority.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying he had it a priority at 11 years, 350, but do you agree that AJ Preller wanted Manny Machado beyond 2023 heading into 2023? Do you think AJ Preller wanted to get rid of Manny Machado at the end of 2023 heading into 2023?
I think, I don't know.
No, he was coming off the second MVP. He's second in MVP. They were concerned about whether he was going to opt out, what it was going to mean for them.
Then why did they go out and sign Bogarts?
Well, obviously, with the benefit of hindsight, and this is where it falls on baseball operations and the organization, they clearly made a mistake right there. That was problem one. It created an additional problem with Machado.
Right. And I do think that signing Bogarts, and we talked about this, was like a safety blanket if Machado opted out.
Oh, fair. But was that their preference? I agree with you. If he opted out, but did they want that to occur, to lose Manny and substitute him with Xander, or do they want their cake and eat it too? Would they have preferred to have Manny beyond 2023? Heading into 2023, we all said that. Nobody at that point said that Manny Machado shouldn't be a Padre in 2024, right? Or didn't want Manny as a Padre in 2024?
No, we said, they don't really have much choice because this team without Manny Machado is not as good. And that's us talking. Okay. Like, yes.
But that was AJ Preller talking too.
You think, or do you think
I'm positive?
Or do you think, and I'm like, do you think that when Dennis reported that there was not a clear consensus and there's people in that organization that thought maybe they should just let Manny walk? You don't think that there was any discussion with AJ?
Well, I'm not saying there wasn't any discussion. I don't know that. But what I do know is what Kevin Acee wrote.
But Dennis reported it though.
Well, so did Kevin. February 18th, Padres say keeping Manny Machado is a priority with quotes from AJ Preller.
Right. And then Dennis also reported there are other people in that organization, in the front office, that think that maybe they're not all on the same page about Manny. Is basically
so are we saying underneath now Preller?
Probably.
Because I thought the dynamic I've been led to believe is that it was Seidler come hell or high water, and this was against the direction of his president of baseball operations. But this is the quote February 18th in the Union Tribune from AJ Preller. Manny is always a priority. He's a huge part of our organization. We respect Manny's process. We want him to be in a Padres uniform a long time. AJ Preller. not Peter Seidler. So was
Okay.
he told to say that?
I
Or was that
I don't
his
know.
action? Again, I'm not saying that he wanted him at 11,350. Maybe he wanted him at 7,230. I don't know the answer to that. And that's fair where you can say Seidler pushed it over the top. But I feel like, and maybe there wasn't a consensus, but I think it's revisionist history that the organization didn't want to keep beyond Seidler. I think the organization, at least AJ Preller, based on that quote, wanted to keep Manny Machado beyond 2023. And who wouldn't have coming off 2022?
Do you also think, because like you said, it's been reported that there was an initial offer of 250 million. Okay.
Was that what the offer was? What was the initial offer? It was 21 a year, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was it's 21 a year. It
For
was
10 years?
Yeah, it was about $100 million less than what he got.
Okay. So that we can argue about. Maybe Preller wanted the 210 deal. And then
Because
when
he
the 350
knew,
is way too much, and I'm not making that deal. That's okay. I'm 100% down with that as a possibility. But I just want to, I feel like, to be fair and clear, is that AJ Preller, and I think it's the right decision. I would have felt the same way. I think AJ Preller wanted Manny Machado long term. Maybe not at those terms, but I think AJ Preller wanted Manny Machado long term.
I think yes, but also I do think no. Like, I think
Maybe.
that there wasn't this clear 100% Peter Seidler level of wanting to keep Manny Machado.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. Okay.
And I do think that inside that organization, what have we?
There were questions.
What do we know about Preller? Like, there's the perception is he has a lot of yes men around him.
Mm-hmm.
And to tell Preller no, and to make Preller completely change something if he doesn't, if he wants it, it's hard to do.
Right.
I just think, yeah,
I'm willing to go there, that Seidler wanted it way more and was the one that may have ultimately made that decision. So I see that point. I just also see the side of it that, like, it wasn't solely him that wanted Manny Machado to remain a Padre within the organization, even if there was infighting or a lack of full clarity from the organization. It wasn't as if it was Peter that wanted him and no one else did. I do not think that's accurate based on what's been reported in the offseason between 2022 and 2023. Eric, thank you. He says, Manny, not the problem. Roster's trash. So is AC. Okay.
All right. Keep thinking that, Eric. I mean, go right ahead.
It's his opinion. It's possible.
Yeah,
Maybe
have
you're
your
right.
opinion.
Yeah.
Love Manny Machado and love every single Padres player, no matter what they do.
Well, he
or
said
what's
roster's
reported.
trash, so maybe
well, I get it, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Hey, hold your favorite player up on a pedestal no matter what. And when anybody criticizes them, or when anybody puts in print quotes from that player that are damning to that player because that player said it, just completely disregard it. I just want you to never, ever, ever let anybody tell you that Manny Machado isn't perfect. Go right ahead, Eric.
Let's get back to Ben. Thank you, Ben. And thank you, Eric, for offering your opinion that we disagree with. He says, AJ was doing Peter Seidler's bidding. He's going to toe the company line, especially in the press. Has he ever been known to be a straight shooter? It's a possibility. I mean, Ben, maybe that's what was going on. Maybe that's exactly what was going on. I'm just seeing what he was quoted as saying, and he makes it sound as if he was on board. I just go back, Padres fans, and go back to that period of time. February before the season was a different world. Manny Machado's stock was really high. 6 months later, his stock is really low. His stock was really high. There were very few, if any, that I recall saying that they didn't prefer an extension for Manny Machado. That's how I recall it. That's how I recall it.
Yeah. We all said it when Peter said that Manny is his number one priority. Like, we should have known right there and then, no matter what, that deal was getting signed.
Yeah.
And honestly,
the day he signed, people were pretty excited, weren't they?
Yeah. We all were. And things could, I don't know, things could change, but there's a lot of repairing that needs to be done. And honestly, like, good on Manny, dude. I mean, like for
What,
what
get paid?
to get paid,
No, he got
get that
paid.
huge
Yeah.
contract. Like, good on Manny. He
Mhm.
knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
He had an MVP type of season last year. You
And
got to
maybe he
strike
did
while
use it. Maybe it's a element of being, maybe he used the organization. Maybe he
yeah,
used Peter.
you got to strike while the iron's hot when you're a player, and when you have the type of season that Manny Machado had last year,
Yep.
helping this team get to an NLCS, like, and you're up for a payday, and you see this team throwing around money to other
To other
players,
guys.
you know, yeah, of course you want to capitalize. That
Yeah.
is 100% good on Manny Machado. Like, that's Manny Machado is a smart individual. He is extremely smart. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
Manny
And
Machado's
so is
not
his
dumb.
representation. I mean, there's
His
a reason they put an opt-out in the deal. The
Oh my God.
Padres would have wanted him for 10 years.
That was the only way he was coming here, is if he got
Yeah.
that 5-year opt-out, because he knew for 5 years
You get more.
he'd get more, because he bet on himself, and good on him. And he's helped his team in certain years,
Yep.
and he's failed his team in others. But good on him for getting that massive contract. Like, personally, he's going to be a Hall of Fame player. He deserves it.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, I do think he's trending in the direction of being a Hall of Fame player. He clearly has work to do, and it's just interesting how polarizing he's been in the press. Mr. Munoz, thank you for the super chat. He says, thanks for telling the truth, guys. Do you think Chaim Bloom's firing will put any sort of pressure on AJ even beyond 2023? We've been discussing this on John and Jim.
Nope.
And we don't think the Mets changes really impact Peter Seidler. We don't think the Red Sox changes necessarily impact Seidler or Preller. It's always a possibility, but I don't know if they're tied together or not. We've asked so many people this question. Kyle Glazer. We've asked a million people this question. Kevin Acey. Who else? Annie Halpern. We've asked this so much, but nobody seems to think that just because other things are occurring out there, that's going to have a direct impact on the Padres.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I think I think nothing that any other organization does will change Peter Seidler's course. I don't think anything does. I think the only thing that matters to him is AJ Preller. That's pretty much it. It. I do want to get to this.
Hold on. Before you do it, I want to remind our viewers about our partner, Aura, ORA.organic. They have been a longtime partner of us here on the Wrap-Up Show. If you're looking to get healthier, do so with our friends at Aura, ORA.organic. You can click the link in the description down below. I've been taking their probiotic for like 18 months. It's an amazing product for digestion, heart health, mental health, and more. If you're taking a probiotic, they've got a great one at Aura that's plant-based. They have pre-workout supplements, proteins for after workouts, omega-3 oils. If you're taking a fish oil, take their omega-3 oil. They have sleep pills, immunity pills, and more. It's an amazing company. Their co-founder, Will, is a San Diegan. They're based here in Liberty Station. He's a lifelong Padres fan that's a big-time supporter of our channel. So if you're looking to get healthier, start with Aura by going to ORA.organic or click that link in the description down below.
Yeah, if you want to live a healthy lifestyle and you want to start taking some supplements, but you don't know where to start, Aura is the best place to go. www.ora.organic. When you pick up some supplements, let us know how you like it. I guarantee you'll thank us later. And they have the best, healthiest stuff out there, all organic and plant-based. Pick up some stuff and enjoy some Aura.
All right, what do you want to get to?
I think my point about fans like being super triggered over someone going after their favorite player or saying that person I mean, can I just like, Ken, bro, why are you mad? I mean, you're telling us to fuck off. Okay, congratulations, you got yourself, banned from the chat. You're muted.
I'm muted because there's a train going off in the background and my window's open, but I just told Ken you're going to be banned. So
Yeah,
cool. You got us. You got your big comment on screen.
Yeah, Ken, kick rocks, bro. I mean, I don't want you to watch us. Like, get out of here. If you're going to be,
well, guess what? He can't watch because you banned him.
Oh, that's true. Did I ban him?
Oh, well, I will if you haven't.
Do it. I mean,
actually, no. Let's wait. Ken, respond.
Yeah, we'll give you another. We're not going to block you yet.
Would you like to stay or not?
Yeah,
this is great. This is great. You want to stay, Ken?
Here we go. Eric, my Bay Area fandom showing. Oh, I'm sorry that you don't like people going after your favorite player. Cool.
I like this. Ken Dawson is Machado's burner.
Probably. Whatever. I don't give a shit. Like some of you guys out there, and a lot of
I
you.
think it's basically. I think it's a pretty big. I think it's a minority.
Pretty
And
big
it's like
minority.
a vocal, small minority.
Yeah, I think it is too. They just don't like when their, favorite player has something written about them, and then they have quotes in that article that are damning for that player, and they're like, just, hey, that didn't happen. Fuck Kevin Acey.
Fake
Like,
news.
what's Kevin Acey know?
Fake. Manny didn't say
Fake.
that.
Made Manny say that. Manny never said that. Kevin's just, Kevin's just
Manny's great. He's just waiting to
yeah,
have a great year next year.
yeah. That's fine. Manny, those are fake quotes. This team is shit. Not Manny's fault. Ken, get the fuck out of here.
You banned him just like that.
Good. Fuck off. Get out of here. God.
Andrew, thank you for the super. He says Padres have too many me first guys. Manny, Soto, Hader. 2024 is going to be a repeat of 2023 unless major changes are made. Need more like Kim Campy. Yeah, even like Xander saying like he prefers to bat in a certain spot in the lineup, and Bob Melvin specifically recognizing Fernando Tatis Jr., who isn't like that. You can say that obviously with someone like Juan Soto as well. The problem is, and Kevin talked about today in our conversation, find the interview by clicking the link pinned in the top of the chat on our John and Jim channel. Kevin talks about all these guys are so big, to their credit. I mean, they're all so accomplished. They all have their own like individual mechanisms to prepare.
Yeah.
They've got their own way to do things. It's all so like single track focus. This is how Tatis gets ready.
Mm-hmm.
This is how Machado prepares.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Soto's preparations are like. They don't take infield together because they have their own way that has worked. These are highly accomplished individuals, some of the great athletes in the world, specifically for their sport. What they've done has clearly worked to some extent. So they feel as if the way they've done things are the ways that work. But if the Dodgers can take infield, you can too. Sometimes you got to do some things you don't want to do. And when you're 10 games under 500, it's not a good look when you don't take infield. So take infield.
And when the Dodgers are doing it and they're 30 games up on you, it's even a worse
just
look.
Do it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's alarming to see like there's a lot of me in this team instead of a we.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Andrew.
Eric says that, guys, quoting AC time and time again is not the flex that you think it is.
What? That's not the point.
Are we quoting AC or are we quoting
Manny?
Manny.
Manny's the one that said culture doesn't matter. What is this, college baseball?
Yeah, Manny said that they don't like.
We quit in Seattle.
Yeah, Manny says that he doesn't think there's a problem with the team dynamic. Other players in the clubhouse, like that Kevin Acey has talked to, singled out Manny as being a problem and not the best leader. But yeah, we're misquoting Kevin Acey. You guys got it. You have it all wrong, Eric.
Ben, thank you. He says Eric Hosmer's laughing as he counts his money in a bathrobe and smoking a cigar on his couch while watching the Padres train wreck. Hashtag insult to injury. Yeah, probably. There might be some of that there. He probably did say told you so. Like, you want to get rid of me? Although it worked out last year without him.
Hey, and I mean, yeah, I think Eric Hosmer, as Austin Hedges said the other day, that man, we did not treat him right, and we did take him for granted. We took him for granted here. It just he underperformed at a very high rate for a contract that, if you get that, you better perform, and you didn't, and it was bad. Like, if Eric Hosmer was making $10 million a year instead of $20 million a year,
sure,
he'd still be on this team.
Yeah, probably.
So like that is the issue with Eric Hosmer. It was solely a performance-based issue with him. You're not going to want to keep a guy making $20+ million a year on a team that is a negative WAR player.
Yeah, that's not good math. That
It
doesn't
help you
even
win.
if he's a good clubhouse guy.
Yeah.
I had a point to make and I forgot what it was. It was profound. I know that. It was very profound.
It's a good question. Jim, how does a player, I think he meant quit, during a game? Just not
Just
be
by rolling over.
fully focused
Yeah.
for an at bat, just going up there with no approach.
It's actually really easy in baseball. It's
Yeah.
super easy to go through the
'Cause-
motions. You wouldn't know it unless someone said it. That's the problem.
Baseball, I think a lot of people would agree. And it's funny because Deion Sanders actually said it today on First Take when asked about like what's harder, coaching or playing football, and he just said hitting a baseball. So baseball is probably, John, and you probably agree, the toughest sport to play.
It's yes, and it's the easiest sport to roll over in. It's the easiest sport to if you take a sequence off, you're going to look pretty bad. I mean, you could if you take it at bats off or you take games off, then all of a sudden you look up and you see what the Padres have been going through, which is completely lifeless at times during the season. And say, what the hell is going on with the San Diego Padres?
Yeah, it's
Not
very
us saying this; everyone's saying it.
Yeah, I mean, in football, it's hard to like quit in games because
You
the
play
coach
like
will just
16 games.
the
I
coach
mean,
will pull you out of the game in 2 seconds.
right? It
You're
doesn't
not
happen in
you're
baseball.
not
What are
really
you
doing
gonna
that in
do? You don't
baseball.
get pulled when you strike out. You don't get pulled when you jog to first. Padres don't.
Yeah, and same thing with basketball. If players dogging it, not playing good defense, he's out of the game. Like it's very easy. You can't do
Yeah, like
if
Matthew said, baseball quitting's hard to perceive because it's already a sport of failure. That's exactly right. The only way
quote.
you know is with your eyes. You say, why are they losing 8-1 and lifeless? Or when someone like Juan Soto says, we quit in games.
Yeah.
That's a good giveaway.
And when Manny Machado says that they didn't want it.
Right. That's another good giveaway.
It's also a very big tell. Now you had two people, and you would argue potentially the two most talented players on this roster say that Seattle series we quit.
He
Like
said
literally quit.
Soto used the word literally.
Yeah, Machado had a longer quote.
Yeah.
And he kind of beat around it a little bit. It was directly at the, hey, we just didn't want it. I mean, Soto just said, yeah, we quit. Like we
I
gave
know
up.
what I was going to say. And then there's this. And then at the end of the day, you can have the clubhouse issues and the culture issues and the we quit. Like Kyle Glazer from Baseball America told us today. They've got a first baseman out of position in Jake Cronenworth. They have a center fielder that's not an everyday center fielder in Trent Grisham. They've got rotation issues in 2024. They've got to figure out their closer spot, obviously. They need to define their catcher. Is it Luis Campusano? So these are the real baseball issues. They have a number of actual baseball issues that we could discuss as we did for months this year, and we will throughout the course of the offseason. What only adds to it is the dynamic of they're like a rudderless ship because of what we read from Kevin today about the culture and the dynamic.
And it was also, I think, the most interesting thing that Kyle Glazer said, and we didn't have much time to react to it because we had Kevin on right away.
Right after, yeah.
I think people forget, like Kyle Glazer, he used to cover this team daily.
Yeah, he was a beat writer
for the San Diego Union Tribune. And he covered this team in 2015, the first year of AJ Preller. And what happened in 2015? AJ Preller went for a quick fix by trading for all of these pieces and getting rid of a bunch of talent in the minor leagues, notably Trey Turner and Max Fried, to get a quick fix with Justin Upton, who had a year left on his deal, Matt Kemp, Will Myers, I think Will Middlebrooks, remember him? I forget the catcher's name, but he turned out to be a giant asshole. And then he said, that dynamic in clubhouse was a bunch of me players and a bunch of me mentalities. And when he said that when he went into the clubhouse this year, he said it felt just like 2015
from the
Derek
chat.
Norris. He said it felt just like 2015.
Yeah,
like
that's
the clubhouse
not great.
Dynamic of this team felt exactly like the 2015 team, which was a complete failure that he covered every day. But that to me is like, ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty damning.
All you need to know.
Yeah, it's very damning. I mean, this whole season is damning. they've
It
kind of
is. It
done it to
sucks.
themselves. And
I don't want to sit here and talk about this crap. Like, it
no, I
sucks.
prefer that they had, the opposite record and they were, going to the postseason. But unfortunately, and I'm with you, Gus. I
Me
think
too.
that's fair.
I want everybody just to blame me.
They already do.
They
Guys,
already
if
do.
you're looking for a place to play fantasy sports, you need to do so at Underdog Fantasy, underdogfantasy.com or the Underdog Fantasy app. Use promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100. They've got their pick'ems going on right now, including this Do You Believe pick'em involving Colorado's Travis Hunter. Will he have 76.5 receiving yards or higher than that total? Click higher if you think he will. They got full NFL, college, major league slates in the pick'ems. Let's find, if I can, I'm going to be doing a lot of scrolling here to find the Padres for tomorrow in Oakland. I'm doing a lot of scrolling.
They're probably at the bottom because it's the Oakland A's.
Dude, this is NFL, I know. There's a way for me to change sports, but I haven't really figured that out the way it's on screen. Anyway, you get the point. What the hell is... You can just switch sports down here. Oh, here we go. Stand by. There we go. Okay. What do you think tomorrow? Everyone's supposed to have a big day. Who's pitching for Oakland? Someone. They're terrible. So
somebody.
Let's just go with, you know what? We'll go with higher than 6.5 fantasy points for Estuary Ruiz. If Travis Hunter hits, if Estuary Ruiz hits, your $20 wager pays $80. You go 2 for 2 because of that Travis Hunter play, your $20 wager pays $80 just by going 2 for 2. You can also draft at underdogfantasy.com, MLB, NFL, easiest place to draft. You can do the auto draft. You can draft yourself. Afterwards, they take care of it all. No waivers, no trades. They set your best lineup. Draft starting at just $3 per draft. Go to underdogfantasy.com or the Underdog Fantasy app. And again, use promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP, and get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Is there anything else? Or are we good?
Oh, thanks for the super, JD Gaucho. Glad you came out today.
We missed one too.
Oh, we'll get to it in a second.
Mm-hmm.
For my back page.
SUNY Mooresville, D3 in New York, and saw Black Turf tomorrow. Their football home opener.
Oh yeah, the Black Turf.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that story.
I did have it in my back page at one point.
Yeah, he did.
The Black Turf. That is.
I remember thinking if it was like an August or September game, it could be like 110 degrees and everyone would just like die.
Like literally just fall over and melt and die.
That would be awful.
Yeah, they should build some canopies though.
Right. He said season changed in June when Hader denied 3 straight. Oh, when he denied pitching in 3 consecutive games at that point. Like it's a long year.
There's been so many changes points in the season, Andrew.
Yeah, it changed a lot. I mean, it was interesting. Yeah, that's maybe a fair criticism. Like, hey, you don't want me to pitch 3 straight days now. You're going to need me in September. Oh, will we? Like we said at the time, you got to be in it.
Another example of a me mentality instead of a we mentality.
Right.
That's just how I think about it.
He won't be.
And do I blame him? No, I don't, because he's looking to get a big contract. He's not going to go out there and jeopardize that at all. Same thing with Snow. And it might have been the same thing for Manny this year if they never gave him that contract. But maybe it would have been different. I don't know. Maybe if Manny came in and was like, look, we'll deal with it at the end of the season, but my only goal right now is to win a World Series because we were so close this year. We just got Bogey on the team. We got Toddy back. We have Soto for a full year. Our mindset should be, we're going to try to win a World Series this year. We'll talk about the contract stuff at the end of the season. I want to be here for the remainder of my career, but the only goal for us right now is to win a World Series because I believe we have a World Series roster in this clubhouse. Instead, you didn't get that, and you got something else, which was I'm opting out, and that dude over there got my money.
Are we still blaming KUSI?
That's what's in, guys?
Right.
If you want. I mean,
was that part of the culture?
Was it the most cringe thing on the planet? Yeah. Should it ever happen again? Should anybody ever do that again? No. I'm not going to say these guys should kill these guys. I mean,
no, please, no.
No, I meant verbally, not physically. I'm going to, not like that, John.
I'm just serious. With you, I don't know.
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna do it. It was cringy as hell. Yes. And guess what? There will be other times that other people do more cringy things and just as cringy things. Will that live in infamy? Unfortunately, yes. This is not going anywhere.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know.
I think
I'm done.
this
I'm spent.
conversation is done for the night. We'll continue Sunday night. Padres back home after Sunday night. They'll come home for the final homestand of the year. Final homestand of the year at Petco for the Padres, who, by the way, remain mathematically alive. What does Fangraph say tonight, Jim, after the win?
0.2.
Does it?
Yeah, Will Holder's posting it. So,
dude, the odds are flying up from 0 to 0.1 to 0.2. It could be 0.3 with a win tomorrow.
let's look at the playoff chase right now.
They're 6.5 back.
I'm not looking at them. Man, Chicago. By the way, also before we forget, congratulations to Blake Snell on winning the 2023 Cy Young Award. Very much deserved.
Bro, we talked about it earlier.
Oh, we did? I forgot.
Well, yeah, you just weren't listening.
Oh, well, congrats to Blake Snell. You won the Cy Young.
I think he's getting closer.
He won it. Just Steele had a blow up game. If I'm Blake Snell, do you
just don't pitch?
Don't pitch.
No, he should pitch.
Don't pitch. Don't pitch. If you don't pitch, nothing will happen. Nothing bad will happen.
0.2%. What do you think? Win out, have everyone else lose, sneak in. Imagine that after the
honestly,
article.
at this point, it'd
be amazing.
I want them to make the playoffs so bad.
Amazing.
I want them to
win the World Series.
I want them to win out just to make the postseason. Just that would be such a. Oh my God, it'd be so amazing after this year. Oh, by the way, too, we didn't mention this. Musgrove officially shut down for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, saw that.
So even if they do miraculously sneak in, you're not having Musgrove or
Rich Hill game 1.
Right, you're not having Musgrove or Darvish for the postseason, but you have Blake Snell.
No, not if he's going into free agency. Screw that. I got my Cy Young.
Oh yeah, hell no, he's not pitching.
I'm not pitching the postseason.
Horse is like, you pitch, I will leave you.
Right, exactly. All right, guys, please subscribe. And please subscribe to our brand new John and Jim channel. Click the link pinned in the chat or click the link in the description down below. John and Jim talking Padres baseball Monday through Friday, 3 to 6. Of course, you can watch it at your convenience on YouTube at any point. So subscribe to this channel, our brand new channel. Smash the like button for us. Bless you. Padres won today in Oakland. I thought there was a good crowd. By the way, Bob Melvin had a video before the game, an ovation, and he talked about it post-game. So Bob Melvin's return to Oakland went well for Melvin and the Padres. You can follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. For those of you watching on replay, thank you for the super thanks. We really do appreciate those. Again, for those of you watching on replay, we do appreciate those super thanks. Support our partners, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance, whatever it is, auto, home, business, life, whatever your insurance needs are. Mark can save you $750 or more. San Diegan. Click the link in the description down below. Aura, if you're looking to get healthier, they've got a plant-based product for you. ORA.organic, or click the link in the description down below. And again, football is back. Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Use promo code PADSWRAP, PADSWRAP. Get a 100% deposit match up to $100. What will tomorrow bring?
I have one thing to say before we leave.
No, don't do it.
Sodded.
God.